My apologies for the last Q&A, guys, because I was at my parents' house. My dad ended up having neck surgery. It was a very late night, so that's pretty much the reason why was so quiet around that time. I didn't want to wake up my mom. We came back really late from the hospital. But my apologies for it being that low. Next time, if that happens, I'm just going to postpone it until I get back in town. But guys, thank you so much for sending me more questions to this Q&A. It's another mini Q&A. So let's get started with the first set of questions that I actually have on Twitter. Elliot Powell, you sent me a whole bunch. And you also sent me some direct message. So I'm going to actually get those out the way too, as well as Largest 85. But let's get started with Elliot's first question that he asked for me. Sheamus versus Randy Orton. Do you agree that putting the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line would make it more interesting? Yes, because we know how Randy Orton and Sheamus will actually perform. These guys are veterans. They actually know each other very well. They always put on great matches. But seeing great matches with the same styles, with the same outcome all the time gets boring. So yeah, it would probably make it a little bit more interesting if they put the briefcase on the line. But then thinking about it again, more than likely it's going to go towards Randy, because usually things like that always favor Randy. It usually does. Not all the time. Sometimes I'm wrong. But when it comes to the Money in the Bank, I would not be surprised that Randy Orton will take it. But moving on to your second question. If Nikki Bella passes AJ Lee's record as Divas champ, will the fans want to remember her reign? Or remember Survivor Series 14? I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody really cares about Nikki Bella as champ. She literally has grown as a competitor leaps and bounds. I will not deny that. But she's a very boring champion. Nobody really cares. They're trying to make her larger than life, but nobody cares. I mean, it was a point to where the Bella Twins were hot stuff, but since we kind of got disenchanted of them leaving, and that's pretty much in our minds, nobody really cares about how long she holds the title. But it seems to me that Brie's going to be the one leaving and Nikki's going to be staying. But unfortunately, by putting that on Total Divas, in my opinion, it kind of spoiled it. So not a lot of people are expecting her to stay. But either or, I really do. But this question you actually sent me was on the 1st of September. And this was before Raw on the 5th of September. So we know that now Charlotte is actually going to face Nikki Bella on Raw for the Divas Championship before Night of Champions. So it might change around then. So we're just gonna have to wait till then. So we can't really say anything now. But even if she did beat her record, nobody's gonna really care. That's just how I see it. Nobody's gonna really care like they do now. Largest 85 actually sent me 2 questions, and I want to go ahead and get those out the way before I get to the rest of Elliot's. Because you sent me, I think they're probably the same questions, but you sent me like 2 sets. And let me pull his up, so I didn't really forget you. So let's get started with Largest, and then I'll get to yours. The first question from Largest 85 is: have you heard that Lana got injured? How did she get injured? And hasn't she even she hasn't even wrestled yet? That's the one question that I asked when I found out that Lana did get injured. I found that out when I was at home. I actually did find out that she did get injured. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure how she got injured at all. I really didn't look into that, but I wouldn't be surprised it was from a house show maybe, and she kind of fought against Summer Rae, and somehow it was a big botch and she messed up her ankle, she messed up her wrist. So yeah, maybe it could have been from a house show. I have no idea, but yeah, I heard that yesterday that she got injured, but I really don't know how it happened or not. And if she did get injured, she played it off very well, but maybe it was from a house show. And your second question for me is, did you know that Paul Heyman was Jewish? Yeah, I knew, because I actually did see the podcast that he had with Stone Cold Steve Austin and how that he was a Jew. So, I mean, and you can, I mean, the fact that he kind of stated that, not only did he state pretty much everything Old Testament during Brock Lesnar's promos, he pretty much stated that out front for Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast he had with them a few months back. So for those that haven't seen his podcast with Stone Cold, by all means, watch it on the network. It actually is pretty good if you're interested in watching that. So Right now I'm gonna go back and actually listen to go back to Elliot's questions that he had for me. He actually sent me two. His second question for me is, what is your favorite color? And you're also beautiful. Thank you for the compliment. That is very sweet for calling me beautiful. Thanks. I never expected that, but thanks. But anyway, my favorite color. I have to say that my favorite color always switched off. When I was younger, it was hot pink, but of course that was the 80s. But when I got older in the 90s, it was blue. But now my favorite color is purple. Anything purple, I love purple. I think purple's a really great color. And I actually do have my tablet cover to be purple. I don't have it in front of me right now. But yeah, it is purple. But yeah, that's one of my favorite colors. And your last question for me is, my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog game is Sonic 2 for Sega Genesis. What is your favorite Sonic Hedgehog video game? Whoa. I never played the first one. How I got into Sonic in the first place was from Sonic 2. Sonic 2 had incredible levels. It was really fun. It was very fast paced. The only problem that I had with it is it had you collect all these Chaos Emeralds for no reason, because you couldn't use them to the very end. You couldn't use them at all until you got to like the Death Egg, the Death Egg Zone, and you couldn't even use it for the Death Egg Zone. It was ridiculous. And that was one of the hardest, most challenging levels ever. But I will say that I would have to say 2. So not only just Sonic 2, but also Sonic 3. Sonic 3 absolutely made it more fun, and it gave you a purpose of why you were collecting the emeralds, was the hyper emeralds in the first place, because it gave you the real ending. So meshing that all together and making whole new levels, whole new enemies, having a mini boss before the main boss was great. I enjoyed it. And I think that 3 is much better than 2. Even though 2 has really great, memorable music, 3 has even more memorable music. And honestly, it was inspired by Michael Jackson. There you go. I have to say 3. 3 is the most challenging as well. Even though I love 2, 3 is definitely the most challenging. But that won't change my heart. That won't take my heart away from 2. I still love 3. And I love 3 a little bit more than 2. That's just me. But yeah, 3. I know I talked too much about that. But thank you so much for sending me those questions. And let's move on to the questions on YouTube, because I absolutely have a lot. My first set of questions, my first and only question comes from Dustin Nunn. Have you ever played Virtua Fighter? I have a long time ago. And I didn't really get into it. It reminded me too much of Tekken. But either or, it wasn't a bad game. I just really couldn't get into it. But I have played it. The next set of questions comes from Ropa. How was your last Q&A classified as one? All you did was whisper. Okay, I've already explained the very beginning of why I was whispering. Go back and listen to that little part before I got started with the Q&A. But yeah, that answers it all right there. Dawson, the new guy, the Wyatt family. Honestly, it will definitely... I like it. And as much as I love Eric Rowan, he's a lot better than Eric Rowan. He's a lot more intimidating. He can actually wrestle. Eric Rowan was a pretty good wrestler, but he needed work. He constantly kept messing up a bit. That's just how I saw it. But I like the new guy. I think he's gonna bring a new edge to the Wyatt family and make them even more powerful. Not that I'm not against Eric Rowan, but honestly, I think that he's gonna bring a little bit more edge and a little bit more fear to the Wyatt family. So I'm all for that guy. And I can't think of his name for the life of me. So if you know his name, leave it in the comments. How long before Cena and Reigns bury him? For crying out loud, people, I'm gonna say this: John Cena and Roman Reigns do not have that much clout to bury folks. And here's the definition of a burial. A burial is when the individual, the opponent against the top guy, has 0 offense, 0 defense, gets pinned within 5 seconds, and that's it. No screen time, barely. That's getting buried. Now, I highly doubt that he's going to get buried at all. It's going to be a definite, legit competition because, come on, John Cena is looking for a little bit of edge. If he thinks this guy is good enough to wrestle against him, he'll wrestle against him. So I doubt he's going to get buried. And Roman Reigns has been so far off the radar, I highly doubt that he even has enough clout to do that. After all the hullabaloo that the WWE has been thrown at them because of Roman Reigns, me included, I don't think Roman Reigns is going to even be in the realm of caring. Seriously, I doubt it. That's just me. Your next question for me is, will Reigns be as hated this time next year, 2016? No, because I think a lot of people are more sympathetic towards Roman Reigns, or empathetic. I don't know which one. Probably more sympathetic, because it's not Roman Reigns' fault. It's bad booking. It's bad setup. It's not his fault. And I think a lot of people are giving him more sympathy than more hatred. With John Cena, it's completely different caliber, man. A completely different caliber of hatred in that realm right there. But as for Roman Reigns, no, I don't think he's going to be hated at all. If they do it right, then he might be a little bit more loved than Cena. He might not be up there with Daniel Bryan, but he'll be darn well close. Maybe somewhere in the middle. That's just my theory. And your last question for me is, why do you refuse to answer questions about other YouTubers? Pretty much because you can answer them. You can actually send your question to them for them to answer them for themselves. I hope that makes sense. If you have a question for the Lex Man, if you have a question for Mr. Griffin, if you have a question for the CC Network, if you have a question for Rico H3, sorry Rico, if you have a question for Rico H3, send it to them. Why send it to me? I'm not them. I cannot answer their questions for you. You can send it to them and they will answer you. Because the questions that people send me should be for me, and it's not fair for me to answer questions for other people when I am not them. That's simple. It really shouldn't be that hard. Seriously. But my next set of questions comes from Yao Popoka. I've already answered about the reason why I whispered. Go back and watch the beginning. Have you heard of that Taylor Swift got a lot of heat for her music video, Wildest Dreams? I did not watch it. I did not care, because I love Taylor Swift, but there's too much Taylor Swift to absorb. So I did catch a glimpse of it for the VMAs, but I didn't see the entire video, nor do I care to actually see the whole thing. And honestly, if she chooses to make that video, so freaking what? That's how I see it. But anyway, moving on. Would you like to see a crossover game with Street Fighter versus Dragon Ball Z? No. I'm sorry. Street Fighter and Dragon Ball Z will not mesh. And the reason why is because you only have possibly 4 characters that fit in the realm of Dragon Ball Z. Everybody else, it would not work. I'm sorry, it wouldn't work at all. It would work with Ken, it would work with Ryu or Ryu, however you pronounce his name. It would work with, I think his name is Guy. I can't remember if it's Guy or whatever. He's like a Ryu wannabe. He's more like a Ken wannabe. And Sakura. Those are the only 4 characters that it would probably work for. But everybody else, no. It just wouldn't. I'm sorry. Not to mention Dragon Ball Z is definitely out of this world. Well, I guess it probably could. I don't know. Honestly, in my opinion, it wouldn't. Because it's too similar. If you honestly think about it, it's too similar. But as for the whole nationality thing, the only way it can happen is if it be an invasion. But then you got humans on the side of Dragon Ball Z. So, I mean, I don't know. If you would honestly really want to, then try it. But honestly, there's too many freaking crossovers with Street Fighter anyway. And I think they need to find something new. Thoughts on Kanye West. Everybody knows my thoughts on Kanye West. I'm not getting into that. Do you support black racism? Do you really think I support black racism? Come on, man. Really? Do you really think I support it? Moving on from there. To that monkey Dashy. Okay. You gonna really do us like that? That whack. Okay, I already explained about the whole thing. Go back and watch the beginning. And no, I did not screen these ahead of time. And I should have. Thoughts on your boy? If you want to know about why I was quiet, go back and watch the beginning. But thank you for sending me questions, though. How I have not been able to catch your videos because unfortunately I've had, well, I mean, well, not unfortunately, but with my family circumstances, I've been paying more attention to that, and that's been my main priority, and I have not really been on YouTube that often. And if I have, it's just pretty much just like, you know, liking a few things, but I haven't really been like watching videos as of late, because of everything that's been going on. But I will try to look you up when I can, man, and hopefully by the next Q&A I will have something to say about your channel. But no, I haven't. I have no idea what you're saying, so I will answer the question on the bottom. And watch my videos of me sucking pause WWE 2K15. No, I haven't watched your playthroughs, but I'm definitely gonna go back and watch it since you said you actually played that game. I'm gonna go back and watch it. The next set of questions comes from Omanda Maha. I hope I said that right. Omanda Mahati. Have you heard that Rey Mysterio and Alberto Del Rio may come back to WWE? I highly doubt that they are. I think that that's just a rumor. With everything that's gone down with Del Rio, I'll be shocked if they bring him back. That means if they bring Del Rio back after all the claims of racism that he kind of threw with them, I'll be absolutely shocked. That shows how completely desperate the WWE is starting to become, if that really happens. So I'm really thinking, my opinion is a rumor. That's just me. Rey Mysterio, I don't know. I don't really see Rey Mysterio coming back. If he comes back, it's for the Hall of Fame. And if he does come back, it's probably passing the torch maybe to the Luchadores or Luchadores. El Luchadores, I don't know. One of those tag teams, maybe he'll be passing the torch from them. I mean, to them. Should they let, okay, Rey is not a freaking murderer. Okay, and I know I need to screen these, but I didn't because I just didn't. But no, I don't consider Rey a murderer, and if they bring him back, I'll be shocked. I really would be. As much as the WWE has been trying to keep out of the limelight of negativity, I would be really shocked if they bring him back. Who the heck is Elliot Power, and why does that D-bag keep sending a lot of questions? I don't consider him a D-bag, and I consider that kind of rude, and I really do need to start screening these more. But if you want to know about Elliot, I will leave you his Twitter handle, and you can speak to him directly. And he has a right to refuse you. So I'm just going to say that. My next set of questions comes from Little Fish. Do you think that... Oh gosh, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Thoughts on Master P. He was great during the day. He really, really was great during the day. I don't know what's going on with him now. If he came up with something now, it wouldn't make no sense. It really wouldn't. What do you think about that feud between Miley Cyrus and Nicki Minaj? I was shocked. Well, no, I'm not really. Because Nicki Minaj is the type of chick that will never really keep anything to herself, especially if she's angry. She'll let you know it no matter where she's at. So Miley kind of set herself up for it. Especially the fact that she kind of got in the middle of something that didn't really have anything to do with her. You gonna get shouted out really quickly by Nicki. So expect that. I mean, I know I did. Why is Nicki so obnoxious? Look, all I can say is Nicki looks like the type of chick that can scrap. And she's the last chick I would ever want to be in my way. Especially if it has nothing to do with me. But do I consider her obnoxious? Why she's obnoxious? I don't consider her obnoxious because I don't really listen to her music that often. But for those that actually do, hey, I don't know. Ask her if you're able to. What are your thoughts on white knight guys? Guys that feel it's their duty to defend women who don't need to be defended. Oh, like how Irvin defends me in one of okay. What? Kind of your boy Griffin who defends you on one of your Q&As. Honestly, I don't know why anybody has a lot of beef with Irvin. I happen to like the guy. I think he's a really great guy, especially the fact that he speaks his mind, and I respect that. But on the real, I don't mind anybody that's gonna step up to defend a girl, because honestly, there are women that have too much pride to be defended for. But if a guy wants to defend me, I'm not gonna stop that. Seriously, who am I to stop that? I'm not gonna lie. I have some pride in me. But if a guy wants to defend my honor, shoot, thank you. That's all I have to say. I consider that to be a blessing. So I don't mind guys like that. And if you're not like that, more power to you. But I respect guys like Irvin, because they're a dime a dozen. You don't see a lot of men, and I'm not saying that all men are like this, because they're not. There are some men that don't defend women, and there are some men that do. And Irving is one of the men that do. So I respect him for that. Straight up. So that's my thoughts on White Knight, guys, if that's what you call them. But moving on from there to Twipple J. Before we get started, why don't you read how I'm typing? Honestly, I read exactly what you send me. If what I say actually disrespects you, then don't write like that. If you really want me to answer your questions, then don't write like you have a lisp. Seriously, write it straight up. And I actually do read what everybody sends me, and sometimes the punctuation is off, hence why I actually sound like I'm stuttering, because I'm trying to read what you're saying. So if you really do want me to understand you, just type out the question. Type out the whole question in English, which I know that most of you guys can write out in English. So go right ahead and write it out. And I hope it don't sound mean, but I'm just keeping it real. Seriously. What are your thoughts on that guy who got shot at the Performance Center? Yeah, I found out about that a little while ago. It was kind of creepy, but I think he shot himself. I don't know if the cop shot him or if he shot himself. I can't remember. I don't have the article in front of me, but it's a shame. It's a shame for anybody to get shot. And I don't know if he survived. I'm not sure or not. I heard about it, but I didn't go too much into it. Out of the two Bellas, who do you think is the better looking one? I like Brie, because Brie has a very natural aura about her. Like she's very natural, she's very graceful woman, and I think Brie is better looking. I'm not saying that Nikki is ugly, but Brie she just seems more natural. And I guess it's maybe a whole natural thing, but I just think that she's a natural beauty. And so is Nikki, but it's just something about Brie. And I'm just gonna say Brie. Thoughts on Snuka? Which one, Tamina or Jimmy? And I actually did do a video about Jimmy, so if you want to hear my thoughts on it, by all means watch that video, and I am loud enough to be heard. You might have to bring it up a little bit, but I am loud enough to be heard, and those are my thoughts on that video. But moving on from there to Lino Gino. Thoughts on Lord Tensai, was he a flop? Well, Albert kind of was. The only problem is that we knew him as Albert. That's the only problem. Nobody really took him well as Lord Tensai, because we knew that he was Albert. And the fact that we knew that he was Albert was the problem. Yeah, I knew about Nikki and Miley. And I already explained why I was speaking so low. What do you think on Men on a Mission? What do you think of Men on a Mission? Mabel, Viscera, Big Daddy V, and that other big fat black dude. Honestly, it was weird. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what their mission was, but I don't know. I never really enjoyed that. But anyway, moving on to Final Limits. I actually did see your video about the African American Marine, and all I can say is I have seen far enough and heard far enough about racism to make your head explode. And it's a shame that a lot of people take that movement, that whole Black Lives Matters to the wrong hands. But in that case, for what he's saying, yeah. I mean, the thing when it comes to this is that that's his opinion. Do I honestly care about this whole situation? No. Because in my opinion, I have more things to focus on. I know it does sound selfish, but there is so much racism that I've seen. There has been so much brutality, so much violence that I have seen, not only by black people, but also by white. And I have washed my hands of it. Seriously. It's to the point where I'm not going to desensitize myself to it, let alone be stressed out. And I know that sounds like a very neutral way to handle it, but that's the only way I know how. I don't think I can take much more of this, and I know that it's just that's how it's going to be. And unfortunately, people do take things wrong, and there are some people that do agree. But as for me, I don't have anything to say about it. I don't, because I am burnt out by it. I'm honestly, truthfully, am burnt out by it, and I don't really can say anything more about it. But I do appreciate you wondering if I have any interest in it, but honestly, I don't. I'm just kind of done with it. I really am. Do you think Snuka will face any jail time because he has cancer and is 72? More than likely he's not going to have a life sentence because of the fact that he is sick. I have no idea if he what the sentence will be, but I know it's not going to be life. They usually don't do that if the guy is ill or he's already of advanced age. So more than likely they're going to probably give him a minimal term, maybe. Not maximum term, but I don't know the whole thing, the whole jargon, law jargon. But I know that they're not going to give him a huge amount of time. So, but he might have jail time, he might have house arrest. I don't know. We'll see. Thoughts on Pac-Man games? I haven't played them in a very long time, but I know they were fun for its time, but I just kind of outgrew them. Doing the same thing over and over again, repetitive, just gets boring to me. And that's just me personally. Next set of questions comes from Nintendo Fanboy 1988. Which celebrity mugshot do you think is funny? I don't think any mugshots is funny. I think they're more sad than anything else. Same with wrestlers with mugshots. I don't think I even seen any wrestlers mugshot. And if I have, it's really, really sad. And Dustin, I think you sent me this question, but I will answer your second question. I will answer your question for the next Q&A since I've already answered it. The next question comes from Justin's side. Well, actually, I could probably... Let me answer Justin's first, and I can probably answer yours because you only sent me one. Justin's side sent me this. Have you seen Metal Gear Solid 5 videos? Honestly, I have, and everybody's making such a roar about it, how great it is. I've actually seen a few bits of footage from Machinima, and it looks pretty cool. It really does. Thoughts on Lana getting injured? Well, she's injured. What if John Cena became a full-time rapper after he retires? It would make sense. I mean, the guy actually does have pretty... the guy actually does have some skills. Thoughts on I Am Kate on E? It's great that she is coming out to say how she feels. And to me, I mean, if she wants to have that kind of documentary, more power to her. Do you watch Fashion Police on E? I used to. I really used to. But not anymore. And then I'm going to go back to Dustin Nunn. Okay, I have a very controversial question for you. Do you think Chris Benoit should be in the WWE Hall of Fame as a wrestler and not for what happened in his personal life? Because after all, he accidentally killed his wife and son in a 2-day period caused by concussion-related symptoms. Do you think that it's a good idea to induct Benoit, or do you think it's a bad idea? What are your thoughts? Okay. The one thing is that when it comes to Benoit, I think that they already debunked the fact that it could have been from a concussion. And I don't know. The one thing I can say is this: murder is murder, and unfortunately, whether he did it or not, because I wasn't there to actually see the evidence. So, and I'm just being completely honest here. Now, when it comes to Chris Benoit, I'm looking at Chris Benoit for his legacy. I'm not looking for Chris Benoit for what he did. I don't think it should be televised, but I think that he should still be in the Hall of Fame because of what he did. Maybe not acknowledged like outright, like as a pomp and circumstance, like the Hall of Fame before WrestleMania every year. But honestly, if it should be done in secret, yeah, I think he should, because he was a great athlete and a great competitor. I don't think he should be blackballed for that. But unfortunately, because I mean, this guy, from what WWE said, you know, every wrestler that they have on their team is considered family. And even though he did what he did, he's family. What would you do if that happened? Well, I guess I really can't say that when it comes to your family, because you really wouldn't put your own family members in a Hall of Fame unless you had your own. But either or, I will say that, yeah, I think Chris Benoit should be in the Hall of Fame, but something that wouldn't be televised out of respect for those that were killed. So, I mean, I understand that. I understand that completely. But, yeah, that is a very controversial question that does kind of get on people's nerves and actually does, you know, get to them a lot. And just inside, just to let you know, do not send me any of these racist comments that you have in parentheses again. Because if you do, I am not going to respond to them. I'm not going to even answer your entire questions. All your 5 questions that you send me, if you send me any more of these racist questions about people that I know, I will not answer anything that you send me. And I'm letting you know that right now, because it pisses me off. And I let it slide the first time. I'm not letting it slide now. Let's go on to the final question I have from Escaterio Compton. How old are your dogs, and can you show them in camera? I only have one dog now. Joker ran away, so all I have is Jesse, and Jesse is actually sleeping right now. But he's gonna be 3 this year, so he's too big for me to even pick up. He's like 64 pounds. He's a pretty heavy dog, and he's not really comfortable being picked up that often. Did you know that Raven turned 51? That's impossible, because I'm older than her. Oh, wait. No, not that Raven. Raven. Wrestling Raven. Yeah, okay. Yeah, now I believe that, yeah, he actually is 51. And no, I did not know. I kept thinking that it was from That's So Raven. But anyway, your thoughts on Raven being Jewish. Okay, I didn't know he was Jewish. He's Jewish. Good. Okay. Did you say that Final Limits looks like Raven? Yes, when Final Limits had long hair and the way that his hair was over his face, he kind of looked like Raven. I'm sorry, he looked like a black hair version of Raven, but a little taller. Well, his picture made him look like he was taller. But yeah, he does look like Raven, a very young looking Raven. Do you think that he could come back to WWE and bring back the Flock to feud with the Wyatt family? Probably not, because everybody who was in the Flock as well as Raven are just far too old to wrestle at this point. So no, and even if they did, it would not be interesting. And I really hope that one day the WWE will start depending more on their future than their legends. And now it seems to me that they're starting to go backwards. But anyway, guys, those are all the questions that I have for this Q&A. If you want to send me more questions, by all means, send it to me via YouTube or on Twitter at RKH30, hashtag NatureGirlQ&A. It's NatureGirl30 signing off. Peace out, guys. Bye.
You don't wanna lose her, you better move her. Now better be a real straight shooter.